assets
Ooh wee
as they
boy.
come out. So
Ooh
you can
wee.
download these zip files.
Look at that.
Now, you should
3
typically
more
do this as
points,
soon
and
as
I'm
these files
officially
drop,
paired up.
because one thing you can do with a zip folder is you can actually run a command known as zip info. Now, underneath this command, you can actually see exactly a manifest of every single file. Basically, instead of opening up and decompressing the entire
Ooh.
thing, you can just see what sits inside. So if the government starts removing files, you can cross-reference with yourself and see which files were removed and which files are allowed to stay up. And of course, ultimately, at the end of the day, with a lot of the redactions poorly made, one could grab these files and remove the redactions themselves, provided the government was sloppy, and be able to view things that could reveal individuals. Now, ultimately, I do have to say that because of the victims in this situation, unfortunately, they're also thrown into the crosshairs too, because a poor redaction job does unfortunately go both ways. Now, there's a great website called jmail.world, and I believe this was made by Dropsite News, and I think Coffee also
Awesome.
actually
See
worked
if
on
we
it
could
too.
get even higher
But
on
if you
this.
look inside this, you can see that there's various volumes of documents that one can flip through. And they've kind of got a Google Drive slash Gmail style to it, because ultimately you are just looking at Jeffrey Epstein's vacation Gmail account. So here you can actually search for a document text. You can actually open up all of these files, which they have 36,000 files on. It's crazy when you think about it. The average person is storing the information and archiving it better than the fucking government, who is ordered by law to legally be transparent. But we all know that transparency isn't really a thing regarding the story, okay? But ultimately, anybody can open these documents up, and you can just sort of look around and see new things that have sort of dropped in. Now, inside a lot of these things, inside a lot of these files, for instance, this video clip right over here from the inside of a detention center, you can actually see that there's a description provided. So here is a video showing two corrections officers in prison corridor. One officer stops at cell door U9S, J tier 114 on the left, manipulating the locks, leaning against the walls. You get it. So obviously there are descriptions, there are mentions, and yada 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 relating to all of this. So while there's a lot of new mentions of President Trump and some of this stuff, and you can see that obviously the DOJ has also stressed to the people that the documents, some documents are unverified, there are anomalies in envelopes, yada yada yada. And then in some of these documents, you'll have untrue and sensationalist claims. I love how they said that only about the president, not about anybody else, maybe victims in this case too. So it's just crazy to see where the actual objectives lie in this case, right? So one of the darkest things that I've sort of seen regarding the situation is one file from the newly released data set, which actually has a lot of new information. I think around 11,000 different files. So there's a lot of stuff to look through. One of the actual posts was EFTA 00020517.pdf. Now, we're going to kind of read through this because it's an insane FBI intake document right over here. So, of course, according to this, they have a fair bit of redactions, but understand you don't really need the redactions to understand how disgusting this stuff can be. So, reporting around 1997, he made contact with blank, date of birth blank, whom he had known for 6-7 years prior, as they had a son together. Blank and blank ended up dating, as blank explained she was having money issues and problems with her daughters. Blank noted they were friends from before. During this contact in 97, Blank asked Blank how to speak Ghislaine numerous times. As Blank noted, she had taken her daughters up to see one of the supposed fathers who lived in Niagara Falls, New York State, recently. Blank reported she had met a lady who invited her daughters Blank, date of birth Blank, and date of birth Blank to a fancy hotel and met Donald Trump and some of the friends in 1997. Blank continued asking Blank how to spell Ghislaine, implying Ghislaine had given her money and would give her additional money if needed. On Christmas Eve of 99, or the day prior, Blank was over visiting his son, who he had with Blank years prior. Blank began asking to Blank as she seemed to be acting strange and asked Blank if he needed a ride home. Blank asked Blank about this time driving a limousine for 2 years in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During Blank's time as a driver, he had met Donald Trump. Blank had noted he picked the president up in 95 and took him to Dallas-Fort Worth Airport. Blank reported some of the things President Trump had spoken about during the ride while on a cell phone, which were very concerning. Blank reported he was a few seconds from pulling the limousine over on the median and within a few seconds of pulling him out of the car and hurting him due to some of the things he was saying. As caller choose not to, Blank noted Trump continuously stated the name Jeffrey Law on the phone and made references to abusing some girl. Blank was unsure who he was talking to, nor what he was referencing. As Blank talked about his time meeting Donald Trump, Blank immediately, Blank demeanor meant stone cold. As Blank stated,
great, awesome.
he raped me. Blank said what as Blank replied, DJ Trump had raped me once.
Damn it.
Blank noted some girl with a funny name, took me to a funny hotel building, and that's how it happened. Blank advised Blank to call the police regarding the incident as Blank stated, I think they would kill me. Christmas Day. Blank contacted Blank stating she had in fact called the police about what they talked about. Blank told Blank she had done good. Blank did not hear from Blank or Blank until January 10, 2000. Again, I'm sorry for the constant blanking, it's just very redacted. So Blank reached out to Blank stating Blank was dead and noted she was found with her head blown off in Kiefer, Oklahoma. Officers on the scene, Blank stated that there was no way it was a suicide. Coroner said it was. Blank later stated Blank committed because Blank had gotten cocaine from a Mexican drug cartel. Blank feels the murder is a cover for cocaine. The last contact with Blank was after Blank posted this information on Facebook a couple of weeks prior. Blank called Blank yelling that he had put the family in danger. Blank explained Blank had a third daughter whose Blank date of birth. So yeah, this is an insane FBI like unclassified document brought into this entire mix, right? And ultimately, this comes from justice.gov, and from my understanding, I don't think the FBI publishes its case information. It's not like I can go on like a pacer and pull this, but they do have a case number provided, and it's something that obviously the FBI can probably explain in a much more succinct state. But as you can see, this happened back in 2020, and it's an insane situation to witness. Now remember, these are like FBI like tip forms, right? This is the first time any of us in the public are able to actually see these for what they are. But again, this is just another one that was brought in. And again, one can argue that maybe these were obviously bullshit, they were never really acted upon. But, it's just interesting reading as it was released in this situation. So here's one where they talk about Mar-a-Lago. So after Blank and Villeneuve left the hospital, they remained friends. Later that year in 2000, around Christmas time, Villeneuve invited to a party on Palm Beach Island, Florida. Blank believes the house belongs to Epstein, but Mark Villeneuve took Blank to meet Bobby Cox. Cox was a young man who introduced himself as a model scout. And Villeneuve laughed in response to Cox's introduction and said, "No, you're a pimp." Villeneuve, Cox, and Blank then went to a party. They entered the property through the backyard, and Villeneuve said that they would go to speak with the hostess, which Blank believes was Ghislaine Maxwell. When Villeneuve took Blank inside, Villeneuve told Blank to stay close and not go into any of the rooms. Villeneuve took Blank to meet a man named Kurt Schmidt, who was currently the CEO of Blue Buffalo. When Villeneuve and Blank approached Schmidt, he asked Villeneuve if Blank was cool. So Blank stated she was cool. Villeneuve said no, he means cool to have sex. Schmidt said no, he meant cocaine. Villeneuve took Blank back inside, and someone told the party to smoke Trump and invited them all to a party at Lago. Blank told Villeneuve she wanted to go. Villeneuve said Blank, it wasn't that kind of party, it was for prostitutes. So this is where they're implying that a party at Mar-a-Lago, Trump's place still is, that was a party with prostitution and everything. So again, these were FBI reports that had ended up coming out in this space. But it's fucking crazy to see. So one thing that I found really interesting, remember, we have such a wild roller coaster with the Epstein files. Like, for a while, you had the top cop of the country looking at tons of videos, like, adults abusing minors. And then all of a sudden, this became like a huge Democrat hoax. And now all of a sudden, we're getting a lot of files that, I guess, didn't exist for a while, right? So in EFTA 00038487.pdf, when it comes to things like co-conspirators, right? It's interesting when we kind of go down this road, so I want to read this for you, right? So of the 10 co-conspirators, 3 of them located in Florida and served JG subpoenas, 1 in Boston, 1 in New York City, and 1 in Connecticut were located and served. 4 out of the 10 are outstanding, with attempts having been made. 1 is a wealthy businessman in Ohio. A lead is being sent to CV. The remaining 3 are currently out of pocket. The team, 8 SAs, TFOs, 2 USAs, are flying out tonight to Florida, approximately 25 victims. So they've got a tip line. We proceed with lunch. We are in the process.
I'm ready, my nigga.
Through the HVAC, and electrical and plumbing were in rough shape. All in all, about $120,000 in labor materials. Hey, that's a nice job. Well, my crew wrapped up most of the work in about 2 months. It was a very profitable job. Megan had mostly kept to herself while we worked, hardly to be honest. The last part of the job was to install the custom pantry door and all the hardware. My new hire was supposed to be there to help me wrap up the job pretty quickly that evening, and then I could collect the final payment. Well, he called in sick, so I was on my own. I was going to cancel and come the next day to wrap it up, but when Megan called, she told me that she was having a brunch party the next morning and insisted I finish the job for the day. Uh-huh. Well, I told her I would have to work late to get it done since I was by myself, and she was okay with that. I got there about 6 p.m., later than I'm comfortable with on the job when the homeowner is on site. So, normally he does this when they're not around, let alone being there at night, alone,
The 24-year-old.
with a young, good-looking, single woman. I think some of you guys can see where this is going. Megan rolled in around 7 p.m., and she was very talkative and flirting with me. My pace has slowed down to a crawl. While I was working, we talked for a while. I wrapped up late, well after dark, and when I asked her about the final payment of the last $8,000 that she owed, she jumped me. And when she jumped him, I don't mean like she beat him up. She jumped him, got physical.
Elijah Craig was the first to char oak barrels to me. It's an innovation you can still taste in every glass. Warm spice, subtle smoke. Elijah Craig, the father of...
Sounds like something out of a porn movie.
Well, suffice to say, the big head was running on fumes, and the small head took over.
Ew, that's such a gross, but I guess accurate way of putting it. Oh my gosh.
Well, doesn't it usually work that way? Smack. How do you think this? You don't mix business with pleasure.
Oh gosh.
This is your company. This is your reputation. Anything can happen from this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, Megan was very experienced with riding horses, and as a result,
This is vulgar.
Wait, what?
Ew, that's
well, suffice to say, she jumped me. And when she jumped him, I don't mean like she beat him. I got there about 6 p.m., later than I'm comfortable with on the job, to install the custom pantry door and all the hardware. My new hire was supposed to be there to help me wrap up the job pretty quickly that evening, and then I could collect the final payment. Well, he called in sick, so I was on my own. I was going to cancel and come the next day to wrap it up, but when Megan called, she told me that she was having a brunch party the next morning and insisted I finish the job for the day. Uh-huh. Well, I told her I would have to work late to get it done since I was by myself, and she was okay with that. I got there about 6 p.m., later than I'm comfortable with on the job when the homeowner is on site. So, normally he does this when they're not around, let alone being there at night, alone,
the 24-year-old.
with a young, good-looking, single woman. I think some of you guys can see where this is going. Megan rolled in around 7 p.m., and she was very talkative and flirting with me. My pace has slowed down to a crawl. While I was working, we talked for a while. I wrapped up late, well after dark, and when I asked her about the final payment of the last $8,000 that she owed,
That's gonna
she
be rough.
jumped me. And when she jumped him, I don't mean like she beat him up. She jumped him, got physical.
Sounds like something out of a porn movie.
Well, suffice to say, the big head was running on fumes, and the small head took over.
Ew, that's such a gross, but I guess, accurate way of putting it. Oh my gosh.
Well, doesn't it usually work that way? Smack. You don't mix business with pleasure.
Oh gosh.
This is your company. This is your reputation. Anything could happen from this.
Yeah.
Well, Megan was very experienced with riding horses, and as a
This is vulgar.
result, I didn't last very long.
Jeez.
Gee, where'd you get that experience from? She grabbed a towel to clean up down there and said, well, that should more than cover the bill.
Ew.
She told me to leave. I was dumbstruck. I told her not a chance and that she owed the full balance.
What kind of broken human being thinks that's a correct response? Not him, by the way, let me clarify. Her actions. Like, oh, you owe me $8,000? Oh. Did she ask for consent? Hmm?
And you see how out of hand this can get if she wants to get it out of hand? $8,000 ain't worth a pussy. There ain't no pussy out there worth $8,000. Well, she argued with me for a bit. Both of us still butt naked. I reminded her that the contract gave her a week to pay until upon completion of the job, and told her I would see her in court after that. Dude,
Damn.
she could see you in court,
Dude,
or she
wow.
could see you arrested when she calls the police, makes up a bunch of things, and you're taken out of there in handcuffs.
Yep. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Oh gosh, this is a bad situation.
Well, she gave up and told me to wait a minute. She went upstairs and came back with a little over $6,000 in cash. She's keeping that much cash around. Well, she stopped in front of me, and just before handing me the cash, she spread her legs and squatted. She put the money right under her caboose and wiped a huge glob of my love juice that had worked its way all over the cash. The fuck, man?
The person who sent me this, you said in your email that this would make me uncomfortable, and you compared it to that of the chew-on-head reaction I did recently regarding Guna's video. Oh gosh. Going by your email, I'm not even at the worst part yet. You have already made me uncomfortable. Oh man, this is like when I watched the Bonnie Blue did this interview with a guy called Castillo. It didn't get many views, so I don't know if you guys have seen it. That was pretty damn gross. But it's like it's Bonnie Blue, like she records all this stuff, right? And she does this for a living. But this is supposedly just like a normal gal, like behind closed doors. I've actually kind of got tremors right now. This is so, oh my gosh, I can't believe this stuff happens in real life. Why? Why?
Damn, bro. So close.
Oh gosh. Right,
That was a good one, though.
pull it together.
Fuck.
Pull it together. Pull it together.
Okay.
Oh, this just ruins
I did something pretty above my
people.
average on that.
Okay, let's go.
She slapped the cash in my hand and said, F you. Ugh.
Bro, I just need 3 more
I was
points.
done at that point and walked out. The rest of the money wasn't worth fighting with her over.
Nah, just 3 points,
Well,
bro.
that's what she wanted. Now, I'm sure a bunch of this part are like, this is bullshit. No, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that.
Guys, there's a lot of fucking weirdos out there. A lot of wackos. Crazier things have happened. You know this. And that's why I'm doing it, because you never know. It certainly is a hell of a story. We're just getting started.
Sure.
Well, I moved on with my life. When a few years later I got a phone call from a number I didn't recognize. Well, that's why you don't pick up the fucking phone so you get a number you don't recognize. I never answer any
Bro,
phone.
no way.
I never answer
Absolutely cannot approve of this message enough.
the phone. Any number I don't know. Always a voicemail.
Yep.
I
If they actually have a message for you, they'll leave a voicemail. If they don't, block the number.
answered the call, and it was a woman claiming to be a customer who owed me some money. She gave me the address and I looked up the job. Once I realized who it was, I almost hung up the phone. Instead, I arranged to meet her to collect the payment. I showed up to her place to collect. When I opened the door, she was standing there while holding a 3-year-old boy.
Oh my gosh.
Obviously, you didn't wear protection that night when you got your $6,000, I asked her if she had the money she owed me, and she shot back that I actually owed her that child support.
Oh my gosh, that poor child.
Well, my brain broke at that point, and the next thing I remember, I was driving home on autopilot with my phone ringing non-stop. That girl's the gift that keeps on giving. Obviously, you're gonna paternity test, but this is your kid, obviously, how that goes. For one crazy.
Imagine finding out you're pregnant and then waiting, like the level of crazy you have to be to wait 3 years to do something like this.
Let's go.
See what? Probably barely 5 minutes from that
Damn,
chick
brother,
back
by
3 years earlier.
45, bro.
Well, the kid was
Shiza,
fine, and
bro.
DNA tested
Shiza.
perfect. The guy she was dating at that time thought he was the dad. He found out he was not. Her money was gone, and her bills managed to get his name removed from the birth
Bro.
certificate, and he took
Like
off.
I'm squeezing the lemon,
Well,
man.
good for him, because it should have been on the birth certificate. So what's the girl gonna do? She's gonna go track down the guy who had no idea he had a kid out there. So she tracked down every single guy who could have possibly been the father, and of course she saved the best for last. Well, isn't it nice for her that you own your own business, good solid living and all that? Well, I got to know my son after hashing it out in court. Every other weekend in exchange for $1,800 a month in child support. That's $1,800 for every other weekend? Oh, yay. Over the next couple of years, I got to know Megan better as well. I would then go on to make the biggest mistake of my life. I asked her out on a date. Smack. What? After how she behaved? After you know she's the temp
Crazy.
on scooter? Are you fucking kidding me? You think it's gonna get better? Well, Megan has started a business putting up horses for rich West Coast snobs. She had stables on her
Not too
property.
bad.
She made decent money between that and studying out her prize horse. I got a vasectomy because deep down I think
Just need
I
more
knew not to sign
consistency.
up for another 18 years of financial obligation to her, but I was stupid enough to, wait for it, marry her. Smack. Brother, it was bad enough you slept with her. It was bad enough that you freaking picked up the phone. It was bad enough that you freaking started dating her. But you married this crazy bee? How do you think that's gonna go? Oh my god. Well, fast forward a year into COVID, and I have an amazing son who came with a woman who is the most frustrating woman you could ever be with. That's on you, dude. I'm not feeling bad for you. Come on here. You could have your son. You don't have to marry her.
Trouble waking up? Pop an Alice. Need to get your day started? Pop an Alice. Brain feeling foggy? Pop an Alice. Coffee not strong enough? Pop an Alice. Too much on your to-do list? Pop an Alice.
Let's go. Ooh, so close. So close. So close, man. Damn it, bro.
It's true. It's true. You weren't in a relationship prior, so it's true. And I like the fact though that he doesn't see the son as any different. Like he understands the son's innocence.
This came up a year after being married. Well, normally I'd say it usually does, but her mask was
Yeah. She didn't wear a mask to begin with. That was no hiding who she was.
there for you. That night. It was a dead bedroom, constant fighting, and I was about to divorce her. Well, I woke up to go to work after a really nice shouting match that lasted half the night, sometime in early June. I walked out to the work truck, which I found had a smashed windshield.
Lovely.
Of course, was she listening? What was that? Who was that singer? They had that song that was big like 20 years ago or 15 years ago about like, you find out the guy cheats before when he cheats. And she, talking about the Louisville Slugger, both headlights, that line. I guess she was listening to that song. I was done at that point and I called the police. They took their sweet time getting there, and she was nowhere to be found. I hadn't seen her all morning. Well, the police show up, look around, and that's where my wife was. I told them I hadn't seen her all that morning, but her car was still here, so she was on the property. I told them the only other place she could be was the stables.
I don't want to keep playing it. I don't want to.
Wait.
We got this. We're gonna go through it together.
Oh, no way. Son of a bitch.
To the main door. Inside. A few seconds later, I hear the female officer scream, and the horse startled. A whole bunch of screaming erupted, and the officer out there with me ran into the building. I ran in after him, and what I saw is still burned into my brain. My wife was butt naked and under her bride's horse, Buck. He had fallen on her. Nice name for the horse, Buck. Okay, again, you guys haven't caught on to what's going on here. She's butt naked, pinned under the horse, her prized horse, the stud. Still with us, though she is far worse than for wear. Broken legs, crushed pelvis, as well as a substantial internal contusions from having a horse member ram up there with the full weight of the horse behind it. She was life flighted out and in surgery. A year later, she recovered enough to go through with the divorce. She nearly avoided.
Why was she not sectioned? Why was this woman not arrested and sectioned? In the UK, bestiality, I'm sure, is a crime. In the UK, bestiality is defined under Section 69 of the Sexual Offences Act. It involves sexual acts with live animals, including penetration of the areas with another area of a living animal. Why was this woman not arrested? Is that not a law in the US? Is it legal? In the majority of states. It's only illegal in the majority of states. Crazy. Oh my word. Guys, Americans, you need to speak to your MPs, whoever's in charge over there, because that is wild. How is it not legal everywhere?
Went in jail for animal with the divorce. She nearly went in jail for animal.
So it was illegal in their state. How did she avoid jail?
Lost her business license, lost custody of the horses, and most importantly, our son. Thank God.
Honestly, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, that poor baby. That poor baby.
It's fucking disgusting. But we're not done yet. The cops will later find a whole bunch of videos that she was selling to strangers online.
Damn it, bro.
And those types of videos have really effed up things are out there, guys. I haven't seen anything like that ever. Not that I wanted to see anything like that, but those videos, I'm assuming, are out there. Lots of videos and clips of really disturbing things. I can think of a few extremely disturbing things I've seen in my life when I was a young lad with my bros and the internet first came about and you could find things, and that burned in memory too, but not this type of stuff. It turns out that she was selling bug stuff online to horse breeders. Ugh. She made a number of videos showing how she extracted the samples that she would sell to these pervs. While the judge in her criminal case let her off the hook, the family court judge did not. Well, thank God. My son and I moved too
24.
far away from the West Coast.
23 right now.
Megan is in a wheelchair last I knew, and is financially ruined. So yeah, stay away from the crazy horse girls. They are nuts.
Damn, bro. I'm so close to paradise.
Coin Master. Download now for free. Not to believe this is real.
Yeah. So guys, you can see why this story is more appropriate over here than on the main channel. And I know there's gonna be guys, nope, that's the same. I don't buy this is a bunch of bull crap, or this is a bunch of horse crap.
Gosh, no!